Hi, my name is Kelsey DeVigalis. I'm a graduate student at the University of Houston Clear Lake, and today I'm going to be talking about speed development. With a sprint, there are 5 different phases within the cycle. First, we have our starting position, then we have our acceleration, then our driving phase, fourth being recovery phase, and then finishing off with our deceleration. I'm going to go ahead and break down each of these phases. So with our starting position, with our starting phase, the position will vary. So depending on what part of the sport you're playing. So we have 2-point stance from a stationary position. That's both feet are on the ground. You're not moving yet. We have a 2-point stance from an active movement. So that could be in the middle of a basketball game. You're already jogging. You're running. And then we have a 3 or 4-point stance. That's you're going to find mostly that position in a linebacker or a fullback. But I'm going to go ahead and just break down 2-point stance from a stationary position. So in that starting position, you should be comfortable. It should not be out of order. Feet shoulder width apart. Body weight is equally distributed between the front and the back foot. Your arms are bent at a 90-degree angle. Your forehand will be on the lead leg, and your backhand will be just around where your buttocks is. Your center of gravity should be slightly forward and towards the front foot as you're about to propel forward. Once you're in that starting phase, you should have both feet on the ground. You're going to be applying explosive force and explosive movement from both of those feet. Your rear foot is going to leave the ground first, and your rear arm is going to propel you forward. So that is your starting position, your first phase. Your second phase will be your acceleration. So your body gradually starts to straighten, and your strides begin to lengthen. Those strides will increase over time as you've gone from that starting position into your acceleration going towards that driving phase. As the ball of your foot makes contact with the surface, your foot needs to be dorsiflexed. You should be looking downwards, and you should limit the amount of flexion or movement in your upper body, making it a little bit more rigid. Your third and fourth position will be your driving phase and your recovery phase. And I say them together because they happen at the same time. So your driving phase will be when the ball of your lead foot contacts the ground forcefully, and the driving phase ends when that foot leaves the ground. The center of gravity will be slightly behind the lead leg, so your front leg. In this phase, you'll find that you'll have a forceful contact with the ground by extending of the hip, knee, and the ankle. In that recovery phase, each stride begins once the ball of your lead foot comes off the ground, and that recovery phase ends when that foot meets the ground once again. Your foot is kept dorsiflexed, your knee is flexed, your heel is brought up towards the hip. So you need a really great range of motion for that kind of stride. Bringing your heel and your knee upwards closer towards the hip allows for a faster swing of the recovery leg, since the leg is closer to the hip's axis of rotation. Once the heel has reached maximum height, that's when you drive forward, pushing that foot into the ground, getting that great ground force reaction. During both of those phases, your head is going to want to be kept in a neutral alignment, along with the trunk, torso, and your shoulders. You want to, like I said, avoid rotation of that upper body, and your body angle should be about between 80 to 95 degrees. Your final phase of your sprint will be the deceleration. The deceleration is where you're going to find the most common injuries, so it's important to fully understand how to stop in a safe way. Your deceleration could happen not necessarily coming to a complete stop, but it could come from a change of direction. So you're going to be flexing your ankles, hips, and knees as the foot makes contact with the ground, slowing your body down. Some ideas for speed development would be breaking down the techniques of running. So between deciphering the correct angles of the knees, body, the arms, defining where your center of gravity should be, and your flexation of your body at different parts, breaking those down can really help with the form and the technique of the sprint, which can, in essence, develop your speed a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently. Another idea for speed development is training with intention, so training with specificity. So you're going to be training for what your sport needs and training to develop that sprint rather than just training to train. The last idea is improving range of motion. So, like I said, in that recovery phase, that knee and that ankle is hiked up very high. Uh, and by improving your range of motion, you'll be able to get that knee up higher, therefore allowing for a greater force to come from placing that foot back to the ground into that driving phase. I got my resources from NSCA. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day.